Hi, everyone. Welcome to Getting Started with Poll Everywhere. I'm just going to give everybody a couple of moments to join us and get settled. So it's so nice to have you all here today. I hope everybody's doing well today. It is a nice, sunny but humid day here in North Carolina, as it usually is in August, but I hope you are having some wonderful weather wherever you're joining us from today. So just like I said, I'm going to give a couple moments for everybody to join us and get settled. We are so happy to have you all here with us today. My teammate Andrew is here also. He's helping me monitor the chat today, so feel free to jump in and say hi to him. So yeah, I'm just going to give everybody a couple more moments to join us and get settled. We're so excited to be able to walk you through this awesome demonstration and just help you learn how to use our tools to make your best presentation. I'm very excited to get started and jump in everything. Okay, so with that, I think it looks like we probably have about everybody joined. So let's go ahead and get started. So my name is Sarah, and I am the product marketing specialist here at Poll Everywhere, and I will be your webinar host today. So a large part of my role here is working to help our users create their most engaging presentations. And what better tool to do that with than with Poll Everywhere? So if you're like me, you probably have some presentations coming up. Maybe they're remote, maybe they're in person, or maybe they're even hybrid. Wherever those meetings may be, Poll Everywhere is here to help you. So now is the perfect time to be joining us, whether you're maybe a long-time Poll Everywhere super user, or maybe you're just starting out and you're wanting to know how it all works. So when giving a presentation, how can you know if your participants are really paying attention? Maybe they've switched to another tab, or maybe they're checking notifications, or who knows, maybe they have a question or a piece of feedback that could actually spark major change in your organization. But the only option they have is to message other participants in the chat. So Poll Everywhere is here to help you with that. It's designed to empower audience members to engage with the presentation material by participating in interactive activities. So as a presenter, not only does it give you a break in between slides, but it also gives you valuable input that can help you steer the direction of your session and make long-term decisions that can affect your organization as a whole. So the goal of today's session is going to be to show you around Poll Everywhere, introduce you to some of our different and most popular activity types that are available to you. And also we want to share some advice that can help you get the most out of your presenter experience. So now I know that back to school season is in full swing, so we are going to make sure we have some excellent use cases for all of you educators that are joining us today, but do not worry, for all of our business and corporate folks, we've got some awesome use cases for you as well. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into a little bit of background about us. So this is just a brief introduction about us. We were founded in San Francisco, but actually as of this year, we are an entirely remotely distributed team. So Poll Everywhere was founded in 2008 and has been continuously self-funded. And at least 500,000 educators and 75% of Fortune 500 companies have used Poll Everywhere since our founding. And they have used Poll Everywhere to enhance their presentation and help engage audiences. So since then, since our founding, to say that we have grown is quite an understatement. Helping presenters get the most out of their presentation is our goal. I hope you are as excited as I am for what is still to come. So with that, let's go ahead and jump into our agenda for today. So we are going to be covering the basics, creating activities, customizing them to fit your unique presentation goals, inserting them into your slide decks, and of course, collecting responses. So we will be taking some time to go over the resources that are available to you, and we also will be answering any questions that you may have. So at the end of today's session, we will be holding an interactive Q&A session to help go over any questions that may come up during today's demo. So we will give you some instructions on how to access that live Q&A here in just a second. So I am going to go ahead and ask that you go ahead and jump over to pollev.com/webinar. So throughout the session, I will be demoing activities that you all can actually participate in. So all you need to do that is just head over to pollev.com/webinar, and there you will see your responses in action. So this is also going to be a great way for you all to see or just get a taste of what your participants will also see when you give your own Poll Everywhere presentations. Also, I do want to note that today's session will be recorded, and after it's over, we will be sharing a link to the recording along with some helpful resources. So as I mentioned earlier, we will be also doing a live Q&A at the end of today's session. So I do want to encourage you all to drop any questions you may have in that pinned Q&A. And to access that Q&A, all you need to do is go to pollev.com/webinar, and there you'll be able to find that Q&A on the second tab of that page. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump us off. Let's do a quick warm-up activity so you can get a taste of what your participants will see. So I would love to know, in one word, how are you planning on using Poll Everywhere? And it looks like we are already getting some responses in. So thank you all so much for participating in that. This is awesome. Great. I'm seeing a ton of responses come in. So I just saw that meetings is growing in size. So what that means is multiple people have input the word meetings. So as multiple of the same responses are inputted, that word will grow in size. And as you can see, all of the fun colors and just all the different words like to rearrange. So this is a word cloud activity, and we will be going over how to actually start or create this for yourself. But yeah, these are just so much fun and so interactive because I love seeing the responses to this. So I'm just going to give a couple moments for everybody to get their responses in. Yeah, these are great. So I'm seeing training is big too today. So that's awesome. And also I'll mention this again too. So you might be wondering, why did I phrase this as in one word? So the reason I did that is for word cloud activities, we typically like to recommend that you ask your participants just to input a one-word response. And that's just so that when the word cloud is formed, it's a little bit easier to read. But actually, I saw some people already picked up on the tip that I was going to provide. So if you do want to input answers that have multiple words, you can use either a dash, or I've even seen people use an underscore as well. But that's typically why we phrase these questions within one word. So, okay, these are great. I'm seeing evaluation, lectures. So we do have some educators here today, but you're here getting ready for back to school season or just in the middle of back to school season. These are awesome. Okay, awesome. Well, it looks like maybe we have about all of our responses in. So thank you all so much for coming in and participating in these. This was great. So as I said, we will be jumping into this a little bit more on how to create this on your own and how these work. But I just kind of wanted to throw this out there as like kind of an icebreaker warm-up activity so we can get started. But these were some awesome responses. So thank you guys so much for joining in and participating in this. So with that, we are going to jump out of our presentation and we are going to go over to our activities dashboard. So this is our activities dashboard. I'll just kind of show you what you see first when you log into your Poll Everywhere account to start with. So when you first log into your Poll Everywhere account, you will be brought to your home page or your home dashboard. Where we want to go for creating activities is really over here on the activities dashboard. It's this little icon with the 3 bar columns. So that's where all of our activities are going to be organized and created. As you can see, you can also quickly create one here too, but for our purposes today, I want to jump back over to our activities dashboard. So with that, so this experience on your activities dashboard is totally customizable. So this is where all of the activities we have in our account are organized. So as you can see, I've left 2 different types of views here. I've got one view that's a little more structured. So I've created some folders with some different activities. And then I've got a couple other activities that were maybe just a one-time activity. So typically I kind of prefer to have a little bit more of a structured view. I like to have more folders, but I like to leave this view so that you all can see what the view looks like either way. Totally customizable. This is completely up to you how you want to structure your activities dashboard, but just wanted to provide that as an example. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and jump into our webinars folder. And I should also mention too, you can drag and drop activities, share activities, edit activities. This is all in your activities dashboard. So again, experience is totally customizable to you. So yeah, just want to go ahead and throw that out there. So as I said before, I do like to keep my view typically a little bit more structured. So for today's purpose, I'm going to go ahead and create a folder with today's date on it. So today is August 25th, 2022. Oops, not too, sorry, it's just 2022. We are not in the future. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and move this into the Getting Started webinar folder. So you can see how I dragged that folder in there. And now we've got that folder with today's activities. So, or that we're going to create today's activities in. So as you can see, I have this first activity that you all already participated in. I had that pre-created. So I'm going to go ahead and move that into our folder too. And then this is our pinned Q&A. So I'm going to go ahead and move that as well. So as you can see there, I just wanted to demonstrate real quick how easy it is to move around your activities, drag and drop them, keep them nice and organized in your folders. It's totally up to you how you want to customize this experience. So let's jump into this folder. And now that we have our folder with today's date to keep all of the activities we create together organized, let's go ahead and start and create our first activity. So this is our activity creator tool. So as you can see, I got into that by clicking on that plus sign and the activity button that was in our activities dashboard. So in our activities creator tool, you can see up here on this ribbon, we have all kinds of different activities for you to choose from. And actually, we have even more if you click on this more tab here. So we have all kinds of options for you to customize your presentation experience for your audience. But I'm going to go ahead and start us off with a multiple choice question. This is our most popular question or activity type by far. So let's go ahead and start with this one. So I want today's session to be as useful as possible to you all. So I'm going to go ahead and pose this question. Let me see if I can type. There we go. What types of activities would you like to see in today's demo? Okay, so there's my question. So that title is where I put in my question. So that's where you're going to get started with your activity. Now I need a couple more answer options for this activity specifically. So I'm going to go ahead and click a couple more options here. So let's go ahead and get started with some of the different activity types. I want to know what is the one you all want to see the most. So we'll go with word cloud. We'll talk about Q&A. We'll talk about ranking, clickable image. And I actually needed one more option. So I'm going to add one more option by clicking that add option button there. And then we also want to talk about open-ended questions. All right, perfect. So now I've got all of my responses here. And I just want to make a couple of notes while we're still in this activity creator tool, a couple of different features that are available here, especially for all of you educators that are here with us today. So this green, or excuse me, this check mark that when you click on it, it turns green. That is for marking correctness. So if I was maybe giving a pop quiz to my students, I could go in and maybe click a couple of different answers that are correct, or yeah, you could totally structure that how you want. So to mark it correct, all you need to do is click in that little box and it'll be green. So now that question or that answer would be the correct answer. But for our purposes today, there is no right or wrong answer. I also want to make a note too. So something to really kind of customize your questions. We have these little image icons on on the title question and also on each of the answer options. So you can actually make all of your answer options images if you wanted, or you could have the title or question of the activity an image. That's totally up to you as well. Now, if I had accidentally added one too many answer choices, I can easily delete that answer option just by clicking this little trash bin icon here. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. As I said, I do want to see what activity types are going to be the most popular today. So I'm going to go ahead and click create for this activity. Okay, so we're going to let that go. So this is our this is in presentation mode, and I will go over this in a little bit more detail in just a few minutes, but I'm going to go ahead and enter full screen mode. And to do that, I'm going to click present here. So now I am in full screen mode, and you all should be able to see this question up on your screen. So just a refresher, if to answer this question, just go to pollev.com/webinar. So I'm going to go ahead and give you all a couple moments to pick which activity you want to see the most today. All right, I'm seeing some great responses coming in. Looks like Q&A is really popular. That one has so many different use cases, so definitely can see that. Cool, we've got some responses for everyone. Looks like Q&A still in the lead. Very nice. I'm just going to give a couple more minutes, let everybody jump in and get their responses in. So just while we're looking at this view too, again, this is something really helpful for you all to see, because this is what your participants will see when you're giving a Poll Everywhere presentation. And as you can see, as all these answers are coming in, we're getting live results. And that is just so cool, especially in a presentation. It's so interactive and just so unique. So really love to see this. Okay, it looks like Q&A is still in the lead, so that's great. Yeah, well, we're going to be doing our live Q&A at the end of today's session, so we'll definitely get plenty of overview of that, but I will show you too, we'll go into an overview of that. So these are great. Okay, it looks like probably we've got all the responses in. Looks like maybe some are changing just a little bit still. But okay, well, with that, it looks like Q&A is still in the lead, so that's awesome. Glad to see that there's we got some folks here that are excited about Q&A today, so that's great. So I am going to go ahead and exit out of this mode. So I just clicked escape on my keyboard to get out of there, and I'm going to go back to our activities dashboard. And I should have mentioned this earlier too, but as I was clicked into this folder, as you can see, when I click add an activity, any of the activities I add here are going to be automatically grouped into this folder. So that's another way we help keep all of the activities structured and organized in whichever way you prefer. So just wanted to point that out there. So with that, let's go ahead and create a couple more activities. We're going to go over several activity types that are our most popular. So I am going to go ahead and go back into our activity creator tool here. And I'm just going to go down the line here. So let's go back to word cloud, and you all already got some experience with word cloud today. So that was our first icebreaker activity, if you remember. So we already got a little bit of experience with that, but we're going to go ahead and learn how to create one for yourself. So for this question today, I'm just going to do something really fun, and I'm going to say in one word, what is your favorite color? And my favorite color is lavender. So I always love seeing all these different responses to these. I've actually learned a ton of new colors that I never knew existed from this. So this is always cool to see. But again, so I did notice, or I did mention earlier, I typically recommend to start any of these questions in word cloud within one word. And that's just really to keep the structure of the word cloud kind of clean, and just making sure that it's easy to read for everybody, the audience and yourself included. So that's typically why we recommend to start questions with that. So just so you know too, I'm going to create a set of activities together with you all. So I don't need to go back and forth between here, the activity creator tool, and the activities dashboard. I can actually just go ahead and click here and click add another activity. So next we're going to go ahead and do a Q&A. So I know that was the most popular in today's beginning poll. So yeah, let's go over that too, so you can know how to create this for yourself. So remember those situations that I mentioned earlier where you're starting your presentation and you open up the floor for questions and you're just met with crickets. Well, this is going to be the perfect activity for you. This is such a great activity because it's so interactive, but all you need to do is pose a broad question like ask me anything and watch the results pour in. So during that time, the audience will also be able to upvote and downvote each other's responses, which is perfect for reaching a consensus maybe. So for today, let's go ahead and ask a general but very important question. What are you most looking forward to? Try and spell everything right. Most looking forward to next week. Well, I hope everybody has some fun. I hope somebody has some fun plans planned for the next week. So we'll see. So let's go ahead and add another activity, and I will be presenting all these. Don't worry. I'm just showing you. We're just going to do a quick overview for our purposes today, just so you can kind of see how to create a multiple of activity types, and then we'll actually go into each type. So no worries there. We're just focusing on creating the actual activity for right now. So now we're going to go and move on to clickable image. So this is one of my absolute favorite activity types just because of how customizable it is. So you'll see here that we have lots of different templates here for you to be able to use. We've got mood scales, like a map. Maybe you could start your session asking where everybody in the room is from. You can upload your own map. It's totally customizable. So I actually already have a image prepared for us today. So I'm going to go ahead and upload my image here. All right, so there's my image. So this question I'm going to pose today is, what is your favorite season? So my favorite season is fall because I just love all things flavored pumpkin and I love the weather. I just love everything about fall. So I'd love to see what is your favorite season. So while we are in here in clickable image, I do want to point out a couple of different features. So we've now got our image uploaded. So what we also want to do with clickable image, or what we can do, you don't necessarily have to do this, but this is what I like to do to try to keep responses structured and make it a little bit easier for me to see how many answers I'm going to get for each region here. So I'm going to click into the box and create an answer region. So as you can see, I just clicked into there and I'm dragging and dropping this answer region. So anybody who clicks in here, it's going to tally up all of the answers for me. So I'm going to go ahead, create that answer region there for spring. Let's do summer. So as you can see, I just clicked and drag. It's very, very easy to move around and customize. So let's go ahead and do fall. And then we're also going to do winter. Now, again, you don't have to do this. You don't have to create answer regions. I just like to do this because it tallies up all of the different responses. So it's easy to read. And you can also change the titles of each region. So for this purpose, for our purposes today, I'm going to make sure each region is titled to the different seasons that I have here. So we've got fall. Oops, and then we've got winter. And there we go. And same thing again for all of you educators who are here today. You can see we've got that check mark option again. So you can just click into that to make it a correct answer. Maybe you would have a diagram or something where you want students to click in and find a certain portion of the diagram. And that's where you would mark a correct answer region. Okay, so we've got everything for clickable image. So now let's go ahead and jump back in. So we are going to add another activity. So I do see that survey and competition are some of our next activities here. Now, we don't have time, unfortunately, to go over surveys in detail, just because they do take a good bit of time, but I will give you a quick high-level overview of them. So surveys can be taken at any time. They're great for follow-up questions, either before or excuse me, follow-up questions for after a live presentation. You can also send out a survey before. Maybe you want to read the room a little bit before your presentation. And as I mentioned before, I'm actually going to be sending out an email after today's session that will include a recording of today's demo, but it will have a survey in there. So you will get a little bit of experience with a survey for that. So I'm just going to give a quick overview too of competitions. So competitions are a series of multiple choice activities with added elements like timers and leaderboards. Now, these are a great way to finish out sessions with maybe a recap on what the group just learned, or maybe you can just do some fun trivia. There's all kinds of use cases with these as well. But again, unfortunately, we won't have time to demo this live today just because they do take a little bit more time. But just wanted to make sure I gave you all a brief overview of those two activity types and their different use cases. So with that, let's go ahead and create an open-ended question. So moving on to open-ended questions, these work a lot like Q&A activities, except for they do not have the upvote and downvote feature. So these are great if maybe you're running a brainstorming session, maybe you're looking to gauge audience opinions on a specific topic. There's all kinds of use cases for this activity type. They're great for gathering live feedback from your participants. So with this, with the Q open-ended, let's go ahead and pose the question, what does audience engagement mean to you? All right, perfect. So we've got that. I'm really looking forward to seeing your responses on that. We are going to add one more activity type, and this is going to be a pretty popular one. This is our ranking down here. This is a very popular activity type with many of our users. These are great because you can get a better idea of your participants' preferences. You can enter in a prompt, enter the available options, and then see how your audience ranks them. So for today's purpose, let's go ahead and ask another fun question. Rank your favorite beverages. If I can spell beverages, there we go. Perfect. All right, and I'm going to need a couple more options. So I'm going to click my add option button here. I think I need one more there. Okay. So let's put in our responses. So coffee, and I am referring to hot coffee. Iced coffee, because let's be honest, that's become a whole separate category from hot coffee. All the different lattes you can get. All right, hot tea. Okay. Iced tea. And hot chocolates. Perfect. Alrighty, so now we have created all of our activity types. So we're going to go ahead and get back to, I'm going to go ahead and click this create button, and we're going to go back to our activity dashboard so I can go to that first question that we created. So we've already gone through this one and this one. So let's go ahead and jump back into that other word cloud that we had created together. So now I do want to go over a couple of different controls here. So this is in presentation mode. This is before I actually go live and have this take up the full screen. So let's talk about the different controls on this page here. So first, I'm going to start here at the visual settings. So in the visual settings, this is where you can totally customize your presentation and make it unique to your presentation needs. As you can see here, we've got all kinds of different options to change the color schemes. We've got different default themes that are available to you. You can change how the words come up. Default obviously goes to the word cloud, but you can change all the different views there. There are tons and tons of options in here. I don't have time, unfortunately, to go through all of them, but just wanted to make sure I pointed out where you can access these visual settings and where you can change all of these fun colors and different themes. So yeah, that's a great option there to customize your presentation. So then let's talk about the configure button. Or configure ribbon here. So this is where you can control how people participate in your activities and choose who. Depending on your plan, you might be able to enable even moderation. Basically, this is just customizing how you're going to be receiving responses into the activity. So lots of different options in there. Now let's go ahead and jump down here. So this is our presentations control bar. Okay, so we'll go ahead and start from the left here. So this is our lock and unlock button. Now this feature allows you to lock and unlock your polls or your activities. So basically what that means is when I lock my activity, no more responses can be accepted. When I unlock it, it is live and I can now accept responses again. So for a lot of you educators that are here today, maybe you posed a question and you want to go ahead and lock that activity, kind of let your students think about the question, and then you'll unlock it you'll unlock it to be able to get those responses again, or maybe start getting those responses in. So you're giving everybody time to kind of think about the question. There's all kinds of use cases for the lock and unlock button, but just wanted to make sure I pointed that out. Next, let's talk about our instructions and responses view here. So this is where you can toggle between your instructions view and your responses view. So again, this is coincides with this. Maybe you want to pose a question and you just want to show instructions view. You want to tell people how can they go and answer this question. You pose the question up here at the top, but you just want to kind of let everybody sit on that question, maybe think about their answer. And then as answers maybe start to come in, you can toggle back over to responses and actually start to display those responses for your audience. So great option there, especially when you're giving a presentation, gives you a little bit of control over how your different responses are being displayed. Now I am going to jump back up here too. So this is the activate and deactivate button. So when I click this, it deactivates or activates. So activating an activity means you are making it live. So if I am activating this activity here, that means it's live, it's on your screens, you can start responding to my activity. Now, if I deactivate it, now see it's activated right now, so I'm getting responses right now. If I deactivate it, it means it takes it off of your screens, the participant screens. So there are a couple ways to activate your activity. You can either use this button and toggle that here, or you can go ahead and jump right into the present mode, and that will go full screen, and then your activity's live, it's activated. So let's go ahead and jump into that mode so you all can see what I'm talking about. So now I have presented it, it's now live, and you all should be able to respond to this question. Or if I'm getting some responses in. Yeah, that sounds like a cool color. I've never heard of that before. It's so cool. Periwinkle, love that. Very similar to lavender. Okay, and again, so you can see as more responses are coming in, so it looks like multiple people put blue in. So blue is now growing in size, and you can see all the different fun colors as more responses come in. Very cool. Eggplant, love that. Turquoise, yeah, very popular. Olive. So I always love these. It's such a just fun, kind of lighthearted question. And like I said, I always learn some new colors that I've never heard of before. Very cool. Very cool. I'm just going to give everybody a couple more moments to get their answers in. Yeah, these activities are just so much fun, just because as you see all the responses come in and all the colors changing and the words growing in size, it's just, you know, very interactive. Dodger blue, so I think we got a Dodgers fan in the house. Very cool. Nice. I'm loving these responses. Thank you all so much for jumping in here and participating. I hope this is giving you all a great view of what your participants will see when you're able to give your own presentations as well. All right, perfect. And I will go ahead and mention too, so that presentation controls bar that we just went over. So when I toggle my mouse down here towards the bottom and I'm in full screen mode, that will pop up again. So you've still got all those controls even in the full screen mode here. So do not worry. So I can switch back and forth between here. I can lock and unlock the poll. I've got my carrots here too, so I can go back and forth between our activity set. So I think we've gotten probably about all the responses we're going to get in here. So I am going to go ahead and use that carrot and jump over to our next activity. All right, so now this should be live on your screen. So I want to know, what are you most looking forward to next week? A day off. I hear you. I hear you. The weekend. Yep. I hope somebody has some fun vacation plans. Work a lot. Okay. Take a break too. Take a break too. Yoga. That sounds nice. 2 days off plus the weekend. Oh, nice. Long weekend. Have fun with that. Anniversary. Happy anniversary. That's exciting. And yeah, thank you to whoever went ahead and upvoted. So I'm glad you said. I was just about to mention that. So as you can see, you all as the participants can upvote and downvote each other's responses. So if maybe somebody else has a response that you like, so we got a couple of weekends in, you can upvote another response. This is just great if maybe you're just doing this as a follow-up after a company-wide meeting or after class, just maybe asking how everybody's feeling. There's all kinds of use cases for this. I'm seeing a lot of weekends, so that's awesome. I hope you all have wonderful weekends and a wonderful rest of your week too this week as well. Somebody does have some vacation plans on here. I hope you have a great, safe travels and fun vacation. Very cool. Loving these responses. Thank you all so much. And as you can see, all these upvotes are coming in. Day off is very popular. Totally hear you on that. So while we're here too, I am going to go ahead and highlight another thing as the presenter. So I'm just going to click on day off here. So this is the spotlight view. So if, let's say you asked a question, you've got a lot of responses coming in, you kind of want to go through and just jump through all these different responses. So you can actually spotlight view, and you don't have to go back and forth between, like, you don't have to go do that. You can just actually click on an answer and scroll down all through these different answers. So if you're doing a Q&A session and you're trying to get through all the questions, this is great because it highlights it nice and big for you to be able to see, and easy for all the participants to see as well. And then two, I also want to mention too, there's another feature here called hide. So maybe you asked a question and you're getting some, or maybe you're posing questions as a question and answer session, and you're getting a lot of the same responses. You can, if you answered a question already and there's a repeat, you can go ahead and click this like hide button here. And that'll take that away. So this is great if you're scrolling through a bunch of questions and you just want to make sure you get everybody's questions answered. And actually we'll be doing this again at the end of the session, but just wanted to kind of spotlight that for you so you can see, and you can also star different questions as well. So really cool option there. It just makes it easy for everybody involved. So perfect. Well, as I said, I hope you all have great weekend plans or week plans coming up. So these sound like some fun plans. So thank you all for participating in this, and hopefully this will provide some different use cases for you. But let's go ahead and jump over. We'll do another activity here. So I would love to know, what is your favorite season? Perfect. So as you can see, these little green markers are popping up. And here's our answer regions that we created. And you might have been wondering too, when I was creating the answer regions, why did I not fill it all the way? This is why, because you do want to make sure you provide a little bit of room for that counter in the top corner. So as you can see, it's tallying up all the different answers we've got here. And this is where different people are clicking. So this is awesome to see. We've got a lot of people who love fall in the room. I totally hear you on that. My favorite season as well. Got some people liking spring, some people liking summer, so it's awesome. Perfect. Couple people like winter, but so this is so cool just because you can customize the image, to however you like. I created this image with the different regions for this activity, and I can easily tally up all of these different answer regions. So there's just so many different use cases for this. So I'm just going to give everybody a couple more moments to jump in and get your responses in, and then we're going to go ahead and jump over to PowerPoint view after this, so you can see how to insert these activities into PowerPoint. Perfect. Looks like we're getting some more responses. Looks like fall is the most popular, so that's awesome. Love to see some other fans of fall in the room, so that's awesome. Very cool. This was great. So thank you guys so much for participating in this. This was fun. I hope this gives you a good visualization of what a clickable image will look like to your participants. Again, you can also see that presentation controls bar at the end. So you still got all those different options here. And you actually can also see too, it is a little different with the answers and responses. So you can see that you can still hide these regions if you want. That's totally an option too. So it is a little different down here for your clickable image, just based on the activity, but just wanted to point that out. Perfect. All right, well, I think we've got all our responses for here. So I'm gonna go ahead and escape out of this view here. Let's go back to our activities board here. So I've already got our PowerPoint loaded here. So I'm gonna go ahead to here. So let's talk about the PowerPoint view. Oops, excuse me, I meant to pull up my presenter app here. So this is my Poll Everywhere presenter app, the Mac presenter app. So Poll Everywhere works where you work. If you want to add activities to PowerPoint, Keynote, Google Slides, we got you covered. So for today's presentation, we are going to be talking about PowerPoint specifically. So as I said, I am using a Mac. So I have the PowerPoint Mac presenter app installed. Now to get that, you just go to polleverywhere.com/app, and you can get this for yourself as well. Now, this also works with Microsoft too, but just so you know, the view will be a little bit different. So on a Mac, you do use this separate app. Now, if you're just using Microsoft PowerPoint, I'm going to slide this down so you all can see. The Poll Everywhere ribbon would show up, Poll Everywhere option would show up here on this ribbon. So it will be a little bit different if we have some Windows users in the room, but don't worry, it pretty much functions the same way. So do not worry, we'll go over that. So as one first step too, I want to make sure I mention, when you have your Poll Everywhere Mac Presenter app installed, you do want to make sure you're logged into the correct Poll Everywhere account. So that way you can access all your activities. So as you can see, I'm logged into the same account that I was using just now. So I'm going to go into our webinars folder, into our getting started folder and August folder. So now here you can see all the activities we have created together. Okay, so now to go ahead and insert these activities, now that I know I'm logged in, this is what I'm going to do. So I've got my activity set here, and we've already gone over a couple of these activities. So I'm going to go ahead and install these two activities here into our PowerPoint deck. So as you can see, I want to install these two activities. So I clicked, check the check box for these two, and I'm going to go ahead and click insert slide. Perfect. So I was on slide 6. I clicked insert slides, and you can see that those two activities popped up on slide 7 and slide 8. So very easy to go ahead and integrate those into your slide deck. One thing I do want to note too while we're here, please do not alter the notes at all with any slide that has a poll everywhere activity in it. Reason being is that will just mess with the functionality, and we want to make sure that everything's working properly for you. So don't alter the notes down here at all. I know some people like to have their notes on different slides, but just for the activity slides, just refrain from doing that, just so we make sure your activities work correctly. So I'm going to go ahead and play from the current slide. So we talked about activating activities earlier. This is how I'm going to activate this. What does an audience engagement mean to you? All I'm going to do is click present. And now my presentation is live, and so is the activity. So you should be able to go ahead and answer this. There we go. All right, perfect. So I'm getting some responses in. We got interaction. That's great. Meaning that people participate when asked. Yeah, this makes it a little bit easier for people to participate. Maybe somebody who wouldn't typically raise their hand or something. This gives them an opportunity to be able to participate with the rest of the group. Creating some energy, absolutely. Keeping people awake, yep. Making sure people are responsive, yep. Asking and answering questions, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's what we're going to do at the end of the day session. Hopefully we'll be able to get everybody's questions answered, and yeah, it's great for that. No sleeping, yep, that's a good one. Definitely don't want anybody sleeping during the meeting. Having fun, yes, that's important too. And grasping material, great. Perfect. I'm going to give everybody just a couple more moments here to keep getting your responses in. So as I said, we work where you work. So if you're more comfortable with PowerPoint than you are Google Slides, then we've got you covered. I mean, we work very well with PowerPoint. As you can see, it's seamless here to be able to just scroll back and forth with my different activities. So I'm seeing no multitasking. Definitely, yeah. We kind of talked about that earlier. It's hard to tell sometimes if if everybody's actually looking at the presentation. So this is a great way to kind of encourage people to participate. So these are great. And as you can see too, as the presenter, if I want to scroll back and forth between these, I can do that as well. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to go back over here and go back to my presentation. Sorry about that. Perfect. All right, well, I think we got our responses with that. And as you can see, when I accidentally exited out, it'll just reload the different responses. So don't worry if you make the same mistake that I just did. So no worries. No worries at all. Perfect. All right, well, this is great. Let's go ahead and go over to our next slide. So I just transitioned over to the next slide, just like I would in a normal PowerPoint slide. Just clicked the right caret on my keyboard. So now this should be live for you all. Be able to answer. And this is our ranking question, just as a refresher. So what is your favorite beverage? I would love to know. Perfect. Yeah, these are great. This would be tough for me. I really, honestly, I love all of these different types of drinks, but as I said, I do love fall, so I'm excited to see all of the pumpkin fall themed drinks come back to all the coffee shops. I'm looking forward to that. So these are great. So as you can see, as more voting is coming in, you can see like hot teas in the winter right now. But this is what's so exciting about using Poll Everywhere in your presentations. It's changing live with your audience and their preferences. So that's just so cool to be able to see that. So as you can see, it looks like iced tea is the winner today. That's cool. It is still pretty hot out, so totally understand that. Yeah, yeah, totally get that. So I'm gonna give everybody just a couple more moments here. These are great, yeah. And this just to provide maybe a couple use cases for this. I have seen rankings emailed out, maybe if somebody's trying to decide on a company outing, like what does everybody want to do? I've seen just all kinds of different use cases with this. You can try to really get the preferences of a large group of people very easily. So this is what makes this activity so cool. Very cool. I think we've probably got all our responses in with this. I do want to make sure we have enough time for that Q&A. But again, thank you guys so much for being such an active audience. I really do appreciate it. And hopefully this will give you a great taste of what your audience will see when you give your own presentation. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump. We're going to jump out of here. So I'm going to hit my escape out of here. And I'm going to jump back over to our original slide deck here. So let's go here. So that's all the activities we'll demo for today. But let me just jump back into our slide deck here. So I'm going to give you all a little bit more resources about Poll Everywhere, just some more information about us. So at Poll Everywhere, security is our top priority and we take it very seriously. As you can see here, we have multiple security certifications. These certifications are based on rigorous international standards and they mark our continued commitment to information security at every single level. And they also ensure the security of your data and your information that is being addressed, implemented, and properly controlled in all areas of our organization. So we do take security very seriously, and they take a lot of pride that we are able to hold these security certifications. So, okay, I'm just going to give you some information about support. So before we jump into Q&A, I just want to cover a couple of resources that we've got available. So if you head to polleverywhere.com/support, there you will find an extensive library of detailed support articles that are designed to help you get the most out of our tools. Plus, we've got tons of guides on our key features, as well as phone and email support available. For any educators that are joining us today, you can also find some helpful guides on various integrations with MLS, depending on your institution's plan. And depending on that plan, you may also be able to fully connect your LMS and Poll Everywhere to be able to help streamline your teaching experience and really improve the classroom experience for your students. So lots of great resources that we have available there. Highly recommend to go check out polleverywhere.com/support. We have support articles on just about everything. So very, very awesome link there available for you all. And then I also do want to just provide a little bit of information on where you can find more information about our plans. So we do have a variety of plans available to fit you and your organization's needs. To learn more about each plan and what they offer, feel free to go over and jump over to polleverywhere.com/plans for more information. We've got all of our contact information there too, if maybe you have some questions about some of the different plans, lots of different resources there. So polleverywhere.com/plans. And last but not least, we actually have a whole library of webinars, like past webinars, available for you to play anytime on demand. All you need to do to access those is visit our website at polleverywhere.com/webinars. And don't forget, I will be sending out a recording of today's session to you in a follow-up email. So you will get a recording of our demo that we did today. But just wanted to go ahead and throw this as a resource too, because there are so many great recordings of past webinars we've done. And some that go maybe into a little bit more advanced if you want to see that, some that cover strictly education material, got all kinds of webinars, so definitely go check that out. So with that, let's get to our Q&A for today. So feel free to continue to go back in and jump in or throw any questions in there if you have any questions that may have come up. So still have a chance to do that. So we've already covered Q&A a little bit, so you kind of know how it works now, but I am going to go ahead and go through all these questions and make sure I get any and all questions answered that I can. So here's a question. Are there any new activities coming up? We'd love to see an activity where people can drag and drop things into an order. That's a great question. I don't think we really have anything planned for that right now, but I absolutely will take that feedback to our product team. And actually, now that I think about that, though, the ranking could kind of work in that use case. So definitely check out that ranking again. That might be able to help you with that, but I'm glad to know that that's a popular use case. So definitely we'll still make sure to bring that feedback back to our team. But yeah, would highly recommend you check out ranking. I think it could probably work for that use case. Okay. Any plans on adding a QR code unique to your poll? So we do have it as a beta feature right now, available depending on your plan, but definitely again we'll bring that feedback back to our product team. Totally understand how that will make that helpful, but yeah, absolutely we'll bring that back to our product team. But yeah, depending on your plan, you actually may have this available. It is available on certain plans, and so just check on that, and if not, again, contact our support and we'll get everything figured out for you. How do you pin an activity? That is a great question, actually. So I'll actually demonstrate that because yeah, this was the pinned Q&A. So this is a great question because this is such a great use case too. So let me jump back over into our activities dashboard. So here's our activity set that we created today. So as you can see here, there's a little box up here. It says pinned activity. So you just adjust that. What I did is just went into the settings and it'll allow me to choose any of these activities here. So that's how you make sure to get that as a pinned Q&A. Now do note too, you can only do that with the Q&A. So earlier before the presentation today, I just made sure that this one was checked and pinned there. So that's how you set up a pinned activity. We also do have a full support article on polarware.com/support if you want to get a little bit more detailed information on setting that up. But great question. It's a great tool to use. So highly recommend to check that out. All right, I'm gonna jump back into our Q&A. All right, so we covered that. Hopefully that helped answer your question there. How do you change the background of a slide? So you would do that in the visual settings. And we just check our time. I think we've got time to probably cover that real quick. I'm not gonna actually change it, but I'll show you where you do it. So let me just find I'll just pick a random activity. So in the visual settings here, it would be under this background here. So you can see here, it says you haven't added an image. You can just do that there. So you can totally customize all the visuals in your visual settings. So that's where you would be able to do that. All right, perfect. And actually, let me make sure I get out of this, make sure that's not the one that's activated. All right. So hopefully that helped answer your question there. Can you always see the response submitted so you know if everyone has responded? I'm not sure exactly. I mean, I guess I'm sorry, I don't know if I fully understand what that means. So yeah, anybody who should have proper Wi-Fi or connection, if they're able to see your user URL to be able to respond, you should be able to see everybody. But also it can depend maybe where you're giving your presentation from. If somebody doesn't have great Wi-Fi for whatever reason, that would be the only time I would think that you shouldn't be able to see that. But I hope that it helps answer your question. But yeah, you should be able to see every response that's been submitted as long as they have connection, and so do you. So can you embed 2 questions in a single activity? So no, it can only be 1 question at a time as of right now. But again, that's great feedback that I will absolutely bring to our product team. But as of right now, no, it's just the one question per activity. Now you can do your pinned Q&A, so that can kind of count as a second question, I guess, if you will. You can have 2 of those, like 1 activity active and 1 pinned Q&A active. But as far as like a just standard like multiple choice, no, it's just 1 question for right now. But great feedback, and I will definitely bring that back to our team. Where can we review the recording? So I'll be sending this out. Don't worry. You will be getting this in an email. So I will make sure you get that recording in the email. Great question. So if I'm in the presenting mode, can I see how many responses I have to know when everyone has answered? So yes, you can. It's a certain setting. I believe it's in visual settings, and forgive me, I haven't set it in a while, but let me see if I can do that real quick. So I think it's in visual settings, if I'm mistaken. I know there is a way to set that up. It might actually be into the configure tab. So I do apologize for time's sake. I do want to make sure I get to all of the questions. But there is a way that you can show how many responses show up. So hopefully that helps answer your question. I apologize. I just want to make sure I get to all the questions. But there is a way to be able to display that. So yeah, totally understand how that would be helpful in many use cases. So same question there. It is a setting, and I apologize. I believe it's in either the configure tab or visual settings tab. Just for time's sake, I do want to make sure I get everybody's questions, but yes, there is a way to do that. So any plans to be able to see the presentation and the poll at the same time in a single screen? I don't know if I don't know if I quite understand that question. So if you're in a presentation and you're going through your slide deck, just kind of like how we are now. So actually I'm in my presentation now. So you can see my presentation full screen. And then when I switch over to my activity slide, the activity slide just takes it acts as a separate slide. So I think maybe you mean like, can you show some content and the activity at the same time? Unfortunately, right now, the activity needs to take up the whole slide. So any content that you want displayed in the activity needs to be in there. So you might be able to add like an image or something. But yeah, the activity slide is going to take up the whole thing. You can't add any extra additional, you can't mess with the customization settings like through the app, if that makes sense. You can customize the activity on our side, but doing that in the slideware could mess with the functionality of the side of the activity slide, if that makes sense. So when lecturing, how do you toggle between questions? So it depends. So if I'm in the slide deck here, so if I'm just toggling between my different activities here, actually, let me go back to my view here where there's, so see here where I'm just going through my slide deck. I just use my caret on my keyboard, just like I would in a normal presentation, PowerPoint or Google Slides. You just scroll just normally like you would, and apologize, hope I didn't go too fast there. But yeah, just scroll back and forth like you normally would in a presentation. And I'm going to just get this refreshed there. So yeah, that's how you toggle between your questions. Can you filter out profane words? So we do have moderation available on certain plans. To see if you have that available or not, just go to your account dashboard and just check and see what plan you have. But yes, we do have a moderation a feature. Now I can't say that it'll guarantee or guarantee that it'll always catch everything. But we do try our best to make sure we can try to filter that out. So just check your plan, and yes, you may have that depending on your plan. Can you demonstrate how competition works? I can't today, unfortunately, just due to time limits. I do apologize, but I know that's a popular request, so maybe we'll take that feedback and try to incorporate that later on to the webinar if we can, but do apologize just due to time restraints. We unfortunately don't have time to demonstrate it today, but you can also go to poleverywhere.com/support to see all kinds of different articles on competitions and how they work. So. Can we set up multiple choice polling questions for different presenters to use during their session? So just want to make sure I understand correctly. Depending on your account, you can have multiple presenters, and you can have people use the same activities. It just depends on your plan. So that is kind of a plan specific question. But yes, you have people use the same activities if you have like different people in the account. But again, plan specific, so it just depends on that. But yes, there are ways to share activities and kind of co-collaborate with different activities. Do I need a Chrome extension to upload photos? Not to upload photos, but you do need the Chrome extension. If you're going to be using Google Slides, you do need our Poll Everywhere Chrome extension. And to get that, you go to poleverywhere.com/app. So that's just to be able to access like how I have it on here. As you can see, I have it installed and it's on my ribbon here. It acts very similar to PowerPoint. So you just click on this and that's how you do all your Poll Everywhere controls down here. But that is achieved by getting the Poll Everywhere extension for Chrome. So, okay, jump back over. I think we had some responses maybe to some of the other questions. That's okay. But thank you guys so much these were all some great questions. I hope that this answered all of your questions and helped give you a quick overview of Poll Everywhere. It's such a great tool, and I'm really excited to see what you all are able to do with it. Again, thank you so much for joining us today, and thank you, Andrew, for helping monitor the chat for us today. I really appreciate you all joining us. And as I said, I will be sending this in a recording follow-up email, and there will be a survey please tell us how we did. If you have some feedback, we'd love to hear it. It's been such a pleasure being able to present to you all today. Thank you so much. And I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your week. And yeah, thank you so much. Looking forward to see how you all use Poll Everywhere. Thanks, guys.